The Arsenal versus City game was an absolute chess match between Arteta and Pep Guardiola, but it's Martinelli who shone in this one. Let's get into it. So diving straight into it, the Haaland goal for me demonstrated exactly what Pep Guardiola wanted to do in this fixture. See, I think he was aware that this City team is a little bit weakened, specifically with the depth. So what he set up was a mid-block, and the mid-block did what it did best in terms of how this goal was scored, because City were making it hard for us to play through the middle. And in that instance, it was a bit of scrappy play. Gabriel, for me, gets drawn into an area that is out of position, and so do Rice and Zubimendi. It just falls to Haaland perfectly, and he's bearing down at goal. Gabriel can't get a hold of him, and Saliba can't get too near to him or dive in on him, and essentially he does what he does best in those positions. But aside from that, I felt like City didn't have that much threat in the game. You know, we keep on hearing Gary Neville talk about playing with a handbrake on in terms of an Arsenal aspect, but we never see the flip side being spoken about when it's our opponents. See, Pep Guardiola was just as pragmatic as Arteta gets accused of, and Slot was just as pragmatic a couple weeks prior when we lost to Liverpool at Anfield. And to prove my point, the stats behind me, you can't really see them, but what's going around the houses in terms of Twitter spaces and all of that is that this was the lowest possession recorded out of Pep Guardiola's time as a first team top flight manager. 32%, something like that. And his second lowest was again against Arsenal. So the pragmatism is going two ways, and that's one of the key talking points of this game. That's why it was a chess match, because both managers were doing it. And this is where I do understand some of the frustration that Arsenal fans we have sometimes towards Mikel Arteta, because I think in the two instances against Liverpool and also against City today, we maybe showed both teams a little bit too much respect in terms of how we set up. For me, City were there for the taking, and I've just felt we paid them too much respect, particularly in the first half. But in the second half, right at half time, he made these changes and they made the difference. Eze gets the assist, and Bukayo Saka actually outshone Noni Madueke, who probably was the best performer for us in the first half. But everyone will talk about this moment. Eze, that long ball over to Martinelli. And what a week Martinelli is having. You know, he rescues a point for us today. He gets the opening goal against Athletic Club. And it's just showing that this thing of finishers that Arteta was talking about, there is some validity to it. And there is life for Martinelli in this team in that role. But look, these were just my thoughts and opinions on today's game. Football is nothing but opinions. Let me know what yours are on this.